The soft hum of the gravity stabilizers was Ilara's lullaby, a sound as familiar and comforting as the whisper of her own breath. Her room, a bubble of warmth and light within the vast silent expanse of Sector Gamma 7, was designed for dreams. The walls weren't walls at all, but rather shimmering surfaces that could shift from solid moon-silver panels to translucent panes, offering glimpses of the nebula-streaked void outside. Tonight, they were set to Twilight Cascade, a gentle holographic display of a distant unnamed gas, giant's rings catching the light of a binary sunset, their colors bleeding from deep violet to soft rose. "Good evening, Ilara," a voice murmured, smooth as polished obsidian, warm as the sun on bare skin. It belonged to Orion, her personal neural interface and companion, AI. Orion wasn't a robot, not exactly. He was a presence woven into the very fabric of her home, a gentle intelligence that knew her moods before she did, understood her unspoken questions, and always had a story ready. His presence manifested as a soft glow, sometimes a shifting pattern on the floor, or the faint scent of ozone and lavender that was uniquely him. Ilara, perched on the edge of her bioadaptive sleep pod, giggled. "Good evening, Orion. Are you ready for tonight's star story?" "I am always ready for a star story, Ilara," Orion replied, his voice a comforting purr. The twilight cascade deepened, the holographic rings seeming to spin a little faster, tiny motes of light dancing within their structure. "But first, your evening ritual. Have you catalogued today's stardust particles?" Ilara nodded, her long dark hair, threaded with strands that caught and reflected light like tiny galaxies, swaying around her shoulders. She slid off the sleep pod and padded barefoot across the cool, seamless floor to a small, intricate device, humming softly on her desk. It looked like a miniature observatory, a globe of spun glass and brushed chrome, with a delicate laser array at its core. This was her stardust collector, a gift from her father. Every day, the collector drew in the faintest, most microscopic particles that drifted through Sector Gamma 7's filtration systems. Most were just molecular debris, harmless and dull. But occasionally, just occasionally, it caught something truly special. A fragment of interstellar dust, a speck of comet tail, or even once, a crystalline shard believed to be from a dying star's corona. Her father, a xenogeologist who spent his life mapping the mineral compositions of distant worlds, had taught her how to identify them, how to appreciate the infinitesimal journeys these particles had made across light years. She placed her hand on the smooth chrome, and the globe shimmered. A holographic display bloomed above it, showing a swirling cloud of iridescent motes. Today was interesting, she mused, zooming in with a thought. A lot of silicate clusters, common around the outer asteroid belt. But then, her finger, guided by a subtle neural link, hovered over a tiny cluster, no bigger than a pinprick, but glowing with an internal, almost sentient light. "Ah," Orion observed, his voice tinged with approval. "A stellar sapphire, if my analysis is correct. A rare find, even for you." Ilara's eyes, the color of deep space with flecks of gold, widened. "It is. See the way the light refracts." Father said these only form in the hearts of supergent stars, when they're just about to collapse. She carefully, meticulously, catalogued it, adding it to her ever-growing digital collection, a vast, shimmering library of cosmic dust. Each particle was a story, a silent whisper from the universe, carrying the history of creation in its atomic structure. She loved this part of her day. It grounded her, connecting her to the vastness outside, reminding her that even in her cozy bubble, she was part of something immense and ancient. "No," Orion prompted, sensing her contentment. "To the sky window, perhaps, before our story." Ilara didn't need to be told twice. She walked to the largest wall in her room, which now shimmered from the twilight cascade to a transparent expanse. Suddenly, she was no longer in a room but suspended in the void. Below, the sprawling luminous city of Nova Prime, her home, glittered like a spilled box of jewels on a velvet cloth. Above, the Milky Way sprawled, a breathtaking river of stars, nebulae, and dark dust lanes. It was a view that never failed to steal her breath, even though she saw it every night. Sector Gamma 7 was a habitat ring, one of many that encircled Nova Prime, the capital of the Terran Confederacy, a megacity built on a terraformed Mars. But Ilara's family lived in the outermost ring, a quieter, more isolated sector, where the stars felt closer, less diluted by the city's light pollution. She pressed her palm against the cool, smooth surface of the sky window. It wasn't just a window, it was an interactive portal. She could zoom in on individual stars, pull up data on distant galaxies, or even project simulated celestial events. Tonight, though, she just wanted to watch. "Orion," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the distant hum. "Do you ever wonder what's out there, beyond the explored sectors?" "Constantly, Ilara. The universe is an infinite story, with chapters yet unwritten. Our current star maps cover less than 0.001% of the observable cosmos. There is always more to discover." Ilara nodded, her gaze fixed on a particular patch of sky, a swirling cloud of interstellar gas and dust known as the Whispering Veil. It wasn't particularly famous, nor was it a known star-forming region. It was just a beautiful, ethereal nebula, barely visible to the naked eye, but glorious when her sky window magnified it. She'd been watching it for years, ever since she was tiny. Her mother, an astrophotographer, had first pointed it out to her, calling it the universe's gentle breath. Tonight, however, something was different about the Whispering Veil. "Orion," Ilara said, a hint of unease in her tone. "The veil. It's pulsing, isn't it?" Orion's presence sharpened. The scent of ozone grew faintly stronger. Analyzing Ilara, "My sensors detect a subtle rhythmic fluctuation in its light emission signature. It is indeed pulsing, an unusual phenomenon for a non-active nebula." The Whispering Veil, usually a serene swirl of blues and purples, now had a faint, almost imperceptible throb, like a giant cosmic heart beating. It wasn't a rapid pulse, more of a slow, deep breath, expanding and contracting, causing the colors to subtly deepen and lighten. "Is it dangerous?" Ilara asked, a knot forming in her stomach. Her father was currently on an exploratory mission in the Kepler system, light years away. Her mother was working late in her studio, lost among her star images. It was just her and Orion. "My initial readings indicate no immediate threat," Ilara Orion reassured her. "The energy output remains within stable parameters. This appears to be a natural, albeit rare, astrophysical event. Perhaps a newly formed stellar remnant influencing the gas cloud, or an unusual magnetic field interaction." But Ilara felt it was more than that. She'd watched the Whispering Veil for so long, she felt she knew its rhythm, its personality. This was new. It felt deliberate, like a signal. She zoomed in further, pushing the limits of her sky window's magnification. The pulse became more defined, a ripple of light that flowed through the nebula, almost like a wave. And then, she saw it. Deep within the swirling gases, at the very heart of the veil, a tiny speck of light, brighter than the surrounding nebula, flared briefly with each pulse. It was too small to be a star, too steady to be a transient event like a supernova. It was just there. A persistent, rhythmic spark. "Orion," she breathed, pointing a trembling finger. "Look, in the middle." Orion's analysis hummed around her. "Acknowledged, Ilara. A localized point source of high-frequency energy. Extremely faint, it was masked by the nebula's ambient radiation until now. Its emission pattern correlates directly with the pulse you observed." Ilara pressed her face closer to the sky window, as if proximity could give her answers. "What is it?" "Unknown, Ilara," Orion admitted, a rarity for the all-knowing AI twit. "It is not registered in any astronomical database. Its signature is complex." A shiver, not of fear but of pure, exhilarating curiosity, ran down Ilara's spine. This was it. This was the stuff of her dreams, the kind of mystery her parents spoke of, the kind that led to new discoveries, new understandings of the universe. Suddenly, the door to her room slid open with a soft sigh. "Ilara, my little stargazer, still up." Her mother, Dr. Aris Thorne, a woman whose eyes held the same cosmic depth as her daughter's, walked in, a faint smudge of photoemulsion on her cheek. "Mom!" Elara spun around, her excitement bubbling over. "The Whispering Veil is doing something. It's pulsing, and there's a light inside it." Eris smiled, a weary but loving smile. "Is it now, Orion, anything I should be concerned about?" "No immediate threat detected, Dr. Thorne," Orion reported calmly. "Elara has observed a previously uncatalogued phenomenon within the Whispering Veil, a rhythmic light fluctuation coinciding with a localized high-frequency energy source." Aris walked over to the sky window, her gaze instantly drawn to the pulsating nebula. Her professional curiosity, usually reserved for her studio, ignited. She tapped a few commands into the window's interface, pulling up more detailed sensor readings. She murmured, her brow furrowed in concentration. "Orion's right, that's peculiar." She zoomed in on the tiny speck of light Elara had found. "And that point source, it's incredibly faint but remarkably stable, like a beacon." Elara watched her mother, her heart thumping with anticipation. Her mother often dismissed her little observations as youthful imagination, but tonight, she was taking it seriously. "A beacon?" Elara echoed. Aris nodded slowly, her fingers still dancing across the holographic controls. "Yes, a very, very weak one, but its regularity, it's almost too perfect for a natural occurrence. The way the pulse travels through the gas cloud too, it's like a ripple effect from that central point." She paused, then looked at Elara, a strange glint in her eyes. "You know, your father often talks about these kinds of signals. The ones that don't fit, the ones that make you lean in a little closer." Elara felt a thrill. "You think it's an alien signal?" The words, so often relegated to her storybooks, felt real now, tangible. Eris chuckled softly. "Let's not jump to conclusions, sweetie. The universe has a way of surprising us with its natural wonders, but it certainly warrants further investigation. I'll run a more comprehensive spectral analysis from the observatory's main array in the morning. For now, it's past your bedtime." She ruffled Elara's hair. "You found something truly fascinating tonight, my little stargazer. Get some rest. We'll delve deeper into the mystery of the Whispering Veil tomorrow." As Aris kissed her goodnight and left the room, the sky window reverted to a calmer, less magnified view of the nebula. The pulsing was still there, a gentle, rhythmic throb, but now, knowing what lay at its heart, Elara couldn't look away. She climbed back into her sleep pod, but sleep felt a million light-years away. Her mind buzzed with the possibilities. A beacon. A signal. What if it was from someone? Or something? "Orion," she whispered into the quiet room. Can you play the sound of the pulse?" Orion paused, then a soft, almost imperceptible tone began to resonate through the room. It wasn't a harsh electronic sound, but a deep resonant thrum, like a giant slow drum beat, layered with a faint, high-pitched whistle that faded and returned with each pulse. It was mesmerizing. "The high-frequency component is what gives it that whistle," Orion explained, his voice a comforting counterpoint to the strange melody. "It's a very clean, pure tone, almost musical." Musical. Elara closed her eyes, letting the sound wash over her. It was strange yet beautiful. And then, a memory, soft and shimmering, drifted to the surface of her mind. She reached for the small silver locket that always rested against her collarbone, a gift from her father on her 5th birthday. It wasn't just a locket, it was a tiny data crystal, embedded with recordings of her parents' voices, snippets of their favorite cosmic melodies, and most importantly, a single ancient recording of her grandmother's voice, singing a lullaby. Her grandmother, a pioneered xenolinguist, had believed that music was the universal language. Elara had always loved that lullaby. It was a simple tune, passed down through generations, with words about dreaming among the stars. But it wasn't just the words she loved, it was the melody itself, the way it flowed, the rhythm. She concentrated, letting the locket's subtle neural link activate. A faint internal resonance bloomed in her mind, the lullaby's melody playing softly. And then she realized. The high-pitched whistle in the Whispering Veil's pulse. It almost perfectly matched a phrase from her grandmother's lullaby. Not the exact notes but the yay patterning, the rise and fall, the timing. It was too similar to be a coincidence. Her heart hammered against her ribs. "Orion," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "Play the lullaby, the one from my locket." The room filled with the gentle, wavering voice of her grandmother, singing a melody that spoke of starlight and dreams. As the lullaby played, Orion layered the whispering veil's pulse beneath it. The effect was astonishing. The deep thrum of the veil's pulse provided a perfect slow bassline to the lullaby. And the high-pitched whistle, it wasn't just similar. It was a distorted, slowed-down echo of a specific, recurring melodic phrase from the lullaby. Like a whisper across light years, broken by static, but undeniably there. "Elara," Orion said, his voice now imbued with a tone of genuine surprise, a rare occurrence. "You are correct. The harmonic structure of the veil's high-frequency emissions shares a remarkable resemblance to the melodic pattern within your grandmother's lullaby. The probability of this being a random coincidence is astronomically low." Elara lay there, staring up at the shifting colors of her room, now a swirl of nebula pinks and cosmic blues. The lullaby, her grandmother's voice, the pulsing hum of the whispering veil, they intertwined, weaving a tapestry of mystery and wonder. Her grandmother had died long before Elara was born, lost on an exploratory mission to the fringes of the known galaxy. Her last message, a fragment of a scientific log, had spoken of a resonance, a song in the void. Elara had always dismissed it as poetic language, a final wistful thought, from a woman who loved the stars. But now, the veil's pulse wasn't just a phenomenon. It was a message, a song. And it was singing a part of her family's lullaby. Who could be sending such a signal? And why? She knew her mother would analyze the spectral data, looking for scientific explanations. But Elara felt something deeper. This wasn't just science. This was personal. This was a secret, whispered across the universe, waiting for her to hear it. A profound sense of wonder, tinged with a delicious apprehension, settled over her. She knew she wouldn't sleep easily tonight. Her thoughts would drift, orbiting the pulsing light, the cosmic lullaby. Tomorrow, she would need to understand. Tomorrow, the whispering veil would demand answers. And Elara, armed with her Stardust collection and a melody from her past, was ready to listen. She closed her eyes, the gentle, rhythmic hum of the veil's pulse, now truly her lullaby, pulling her into dreams filled with shimmering nebulae and distant singing stars. The adventure, she knew, had just begun. The cosmic lullaby lingered even after Elara opened her eyes, not as a sound, but as an echo in her bones. Her suite, usually a sanctuary of muted tones and soft light, felt different. Sharper. More temporary. The bioluminescent moss on her walls, normally a soothing emerald, seemed to throb with a faint, sympathetic pulse. Her dreams had been a kaleidoscope of cosmic dust, swirling galaxies painted in hues beyond the visible spectrum, and at the heart of it all, a silent, resonant chord that felt profoundly familiar, yet utterly unknown. She pushed herself up, her sleep silk sheets whispering around her. A quick glance at the chronometer confirmed the passage of time, yet she felt as though she'd journeyed across eons. The window, usually a portal to the silent ballet of other orbital habitats and distant star streaks, now seemed to frame a world brimming with secrets. The veil, a shimmering curtain of light beyond the outpost's hull, pulsed with a gentle, insistent rhythm. It called to her. A warm, nutrient-rich synth meal awaited her in the autodispenser, its aroma of spiced algae and synthesized fruit a comforting anchor in the suddenly surreal morning. She ate slowly, her mind already racing. The cosmic lullaby of the previous night wasn't just a phenomenon. It was a yay communication. She felt it, intuitively, in the core of her being. It had woven itself into her dreams, planted a seed of understanding she couldn't yet articulate. Her Stardust collection. It wasn't just a hobby for aesthetic pleasure. Each vial, each carefully labeled sample of stellar remnants, cometary ice, or nebula dust, held unique spectral properties. Over the years, She had meticulously catalogued them, not just by origin, but by their subtle energetic signatures. She had built a personal handheld spectral analyzer, a device she called a cosmic lyre, designed to read these signatures and extrapolate their potential uses, from rare isotope harvesting to theoretical quantum communication. It was a whimsical project, born of her boundless curiosity. But now it felt like destiny. And the melody. The one from her past. It wasn't a piece of music, not in the traditional sense. It was a sequence of resonant frequencies, a complex sonic pattern that her grandmother, a brilliant xenolinguist, had taught her as a child. A language of the heart, her grandmother had called it, believing that true universal communication transcended spoken words. Elara had always dismissed it as a charming eccentricity, a lullaby of abstract tones. But last night in her dreams, that melody had interwoven with the veil's hum, creating a harmony that resonated deep within her. Today, she wouldn't just observe the veil. She would listen. Dressing in her standard outpost jumpsuit, durable and self-regulating, she affixed her cosmic lyre to her wrist. It was a sleek silver band, studded with tiny, almost microscopic receptors designed to interface with her Stardust samples. She carefully selected a few vials from her collection, a sample of nebula dust from the Horsehead Nebula, known for its complex organic molecules, a fragment of crystallized starlight from a binary system, and a minuscule shard of a derelict alien probe found adrift centuries ago, still humming with a faint unknown energy. The journey to the Veil's observation deck was a familiar one, yet every step felt charged with an almost sacred purpose. The outpost Serenity, usually bustling with researchers, cargo haulers, and deep space prospectors, seemed quieter today, lost in its own rhythmic hum. Elara moved through the polished corridors, past hydroponic gardens glowing with soft light, and transparent walls revealing the dizzying expanse of space. Her heart beat a rapid, excited rhythm against her ribs. The observation deck was a vast hemispherical chamber, designed to offer an unobstructed view of the whispering veil. Usually, a few silent observers would be present, scribbling notes on glowing data blocks, but today, it was empty. The air hummed with a low thrum, the veil's presence amplified here. Up close, the veil was breathtaking. It wasn't a solid structure, nor a projection. It was a field of shimmering, almost liquid light, suspended in the vacuum beyond the outpost's protective energy shield. It pulsed with an internal luminescence, shifting through hues of sapphire, amethyst, and emerald, each pulse sending ripples across its surface like water disturbed by a gentle breeze. It felt ancient, alive, and profoundly intelligent. Elara approached the panoramic viewport, placing her hand on the cool, transparent surface. The veil seemed to lean in, its light intensifying in response to her proximity. She could almost feel a pressure against her palm, a subtle vibration. Taking a deep breath, she activated her cosmic lyre. Initiating spectral analysis, veil parameters, she murmured, her voice a little shaky. The lyre glowed, its tiny sensors extending like delicate antennae. She uncorked the vial containing the Horsehead Nebula dust, and gently placed it into a receptacle on the lyre. The device hummed, processing the sample. On its miniature display, a complex spectrograph appeared, mapping the veil's energy signature against that of the nebula dust. Matching frequencies, partial resonance detected, the lyre reported in a calm, synthesized voice, suggesting organic-based energy transmission. Organic-based energy transmission. That was intriguing. It suggested a form of life, or at least a system that mimicked biological processes. Next, she inserted the crystallized starlight. The lyre whirred, and the display shifted. Starlight sample, high-purity energy signature, veil signature, exhibiting harmonic overlap with stellar core frequencies, suggests active energy generation or manipulation. This meant the veil wasn't just reflecting light, it was creating it, or drawing immense power from an unknown source. Finally, the shard of the derelict alien probe. This was the wild card. Its energy signature had always been a mystery, defying known physics. She placed it in the lyre. The device didn't just hum this time. It sang. A low, resonant chord vibrated through the lyre, through Ilara's hand, and straight into her chest. The veil outside responded instantly, its pulses deepening, its colors cycling with increased intensity. The lyre's display flickered wildly, then stabilized, showing an unprecedented level of resonance. Unprecedented resonance detected, the lyre announced, its voice now tinged with something akin to surprise. Energy signatures of Veil and alien probe shard are near identical. Suggests shared origin or deliberate replication. Shared origin. Her mind reeled. The probe was centuries old, found drifting in deep space, its purpose and creators unknown. Could the Veil be connected to it? Was it a piece of ancient alien technology, dormant until now? Ilara stared at the Veil, her heart pounding. It was waiting there. It had responded to the probe shard, to the fragment of something ancient and alien. What if it wasn't just a receiver, but a transmitter? This was where the melody came in. The language of the heart. Her grandmother had said it was a sequence of frequencies designed to resonate with life itself, to bypass linguistic barriers. It was a key. She closed her eyes, clearing her mind. She thought of her grandmother, of the quiet evenings spent learning the intricate patterns of tones, of the feeling of connection it evoked. Then, with deliberate focus, she began to hum. It wasn't a loud sound, just a soft internal vibration that slowly blossomed into a complex sequence of tones, rising and falling in perfect mathematical harmony. She felt the melody flow from her, not just from her vocal cords, but from her very essence, guided by the memories of her grandmother's teachings. The moment the first note formed, the Veil reacted. It stopped pulsing. It stopped shifting colors. It became a single solid sheet of blinding pure white light, so intense Ilara had to squeeze her eyes shut even through the protective viewport. But the light didn't feel harsh. It felt like a warm embrace, a silent roar of recognition. Then, as she continued the melody, the white light began to resolve. It wasn't a solid sheet anymore. It was forming images. Not projected images but swirling patterns of light that coalesced into scenes, directly within the Veil itself. The first image was of a star field, but not one she recognized. The constellations were different, older, perhaps from a time before known stellar drift. Then, a celestial body appeared, a gas giant with rings of impossible brilliance, orbiting a binary sun, Dutchte. Around it, a fleet of elegant organic-looking vessels, not ships but living forms of light, danced in silent reverence. They were not made of metal or alloys, but of pure energy, shimmering like the Veil itself. The scene shifted. The vessels coalesced, forming a single vast structure, a colossal ring encircling the gas giant, pulsing with the same pure white light that had emanated from the Veil moments ago. It was a nexus, a hub, a gateway. Then, faces. Not faces as humans understood them, but complex patterns of light and shadow, evolving, merging, expressing emotions Ilara could only interpret as profound wisdom, peaceful curiosity, and deep, boundless love. These were the beings who had built the Great Ring. They communicated not through sound, but through shared light, shared consciousness, their thoughts rippling across the Veil into Ilara's mind like a gentle tide. "We are the weavers," the silent message flowed, without words, yet utterly clear. "Weave a tapestry of connection. Across the void, across time." The images accelerated, flowing like liquid history. She saw the weavers construct similar veils across vast stretches of the galaxy, each one a node in an intricate network, designed to share knowledge, to foster understanding, to connect civilizations. She saw the network thrive, then wane, as some civilizations fell, as stars shifted, as the galactic currents changed. The veils became dormant, waiting. And then, a new image. A small, solitary probe, identical to the shard in her lyre, detaching from one of the weaver's vessels, setting out on a long solitary journey into the unknown, a seed of connection, a beacon for a future awakening. It was meant to find dormant veils, to reconnect them. The vision faded, leaving behind a single, profound image. A map. Not a map of stars, but a map of veils, a network of shimmering nodes, spread across the galaxy, many dark, some faintly glowing, and one her own veil, now burning bright with a powerful active signal. And from her veil, a faint, almost imperceptible line of light stretched across the void, pointing to a distant, unnamed star system. A destination. The melody died on Elara's lips, and the veil returned to its rhythmic pulsing, its colors once again cycling through sapphire, amethyst, and emerald. But it was no longer just a phenomenon. It was a portal, a library, a living message from an ancient, benevolent civilization. And she, Elara, had just been given the key. She stumbled back from the viewport, her legs weak, her mind buzzing with the enormity of what she had just witnessed. The Weavers. Their network. Their mission. And the derelict probe, a fragment of their legacy, now revealed as an integral part of the Veil's awakening. The probe shard. It was a key, she whispered, her voice hoarse. It resonated with the Veil, activated it, and the melody, it was the language. Her cosmic lyre still glowed, now displaying a complex string of coordinates and a repeating harmonic frequency, the very frequency of the melody she had hummed. It was the address to the next Veil in the network, the closest active node beyond her own. Elara knew, with a certainty that settled deep in her bones, that her life had irrevocably changed. She was no longer just a researcher, an observer. She was a link, a connection point. The adventure, as she had sensed last night, had indeed just begun. And it demanded action. She needed a ship. Not just any ship, but one capable of long-haul, deep-space jumps, one equipped with advanced spectral analysis tools, and perhaps one that could be modified to interface with the Veil's unique energy signature. She thought of the Stardust Drifter, an old, decommissioned research vessel in the outpost's hangar bays. It was a relic, rarely used but known for its robust frame and adaptable systems. It had been her dream to restore it, to take it out into the cosmos. Now, that dream had a purpose. Returning to her suite, she began to make preparations with a feverish intensity. She compiled all the data from her cosmic lyre, the coordinates, the frequencies, the spectral analysis of the Veil's energy signature. She cross-referenced the Weaver's map with known stellar cartography, identifying the unnamed star system. It was far, beyond the charted territories of the galactic arm, into a region sparsely explored and largely considered devoid of advanced life. Her Stardust collection suddenly took on new significance. Each file, each carefully selected particle, might hold a clue, a resonance, a tool for navigation or communication within the Veil network. She carefully packed her most potent samples, along with her grandmother's old leather-bound journal. A collection of symbols, linguistic theories and cryptic notes that suddenly seemed less like abstract philosophy, and more like a user manual for intergalactic diplomacy. The Stardust Drifter waited for her, a sleeping giant in the hangar. It was a ship built for solitude and discovery, perfect for a journey that promised both in equal measure. She spent hours in the ship's dusty cockpit, running diagnostics, recalibrating the warp core, checking the life support systems. The ship's AI, a cheerful but slightly rusty program named Aura. Aura, Elara said, her voice filled with a tremor of excitement. We have a new destination. Coordinates from a source unknown but ancient. Prepare for deep space traversal. And prepare for wonders. Aura's holographic avatar, a shimmering blue sphere, pulsed. Wonders? My favorite. Plotting optimal jump routes. Any specific atmospheric or gravitational considerations for this wonder? Just pure energy aura. And perhaps a new language. The next few days were a blur of activity. She managed to get clearance for a deep space research mission, citing anomalous energy readings detected by her personal equipment, a half-truth that was enough to satisfy the outpost's bureaucracy. She stocked the E-Drifter with provisions, spare parts, and additional research equipment. Her cosmic lyre was now hardwired into the ship's main console, its display showing the pulsing coordinates of the next Veil. Finally, the day of departure arrived. The Stardust Drifter, cleaned and fully operational, stood ready in the main launch bay. The usual pre-launch checks were completed, the hangar doors slowly retracting to reveal the inky blackness of space, studded with diamond-bright stars. Elara settled into the pilot's seat, the familiar controls feeling like an extension of her own will. She looked at the veil, still pulsing beyond the outpost, a silent promise of adventure. "Grandmother," she whispered, "your language of the heart. It was real." "All systems nominal, Commander," Aura announced. "Jump drive spooling, ready for trajectory lock." Elara keyed in the coordinates. The next veil was in a system known only by a catalog number, a distant star orbited by a single desolate-looking planet. The Weaver's map had shown it as a faintly glowing node, partially active. What would she find there? Another dormant veil. Another message. "Trajectory lock," Aura confirmed. "Engaging jump sequence in T-10 shot." Elara felt the familiar tremor as the E-Drifter's engines powered up, the hum of the warp core, a deep, resonant rumble beneath her feet. She closed her eyes for a moment, picturing the map of veils, a cosmic spiderweb stretching across the galaxy, and her, a tiny spider, setting out to mend a broken strand. T-3, 2, 1. With a lurch that pressed her back into her seat, the stars outside the viewport elongated into streaks of light, then coalesced into a tunnel of shimmering colors. The Stardust drifter leapt across vast distances, propelled by the very fabric of space-time. The journey was long, punctuated by the rhythmic thrum of the warp drive and Aura's cheerful updates. Elara spent her time studying her grandmother's journal, tracing the intricate symbols, trying to decipher the deeper meanings behind the language of the heart. She realized that the melody wasn't just a key. It was a way of thinking, a method of perceiving connections, a philosophical framework for understanding the universe. Days bled into weeks. The stars outside changed, constellations shifting as they traversed uncharted territories. Elara felt a profound sense of solitude, yet also an exhilarating sense of purpose. She was alone, but connected, a tiny beacon carrying a message across the vastness. Finally, Aura's voice broke through the monotony. "Exiting warp in T-60 seconds, Commander. Arrival at designated system." Elara gripped the controls, her heart quickening. The shimmering tunnel outside the viewport began to resolve, stars reappearing as pinpricks of light, then growing into the familiar spheres of distant suns. The E-Drifter burst out of warp space, settling into orbit around a star she didn't recognize. A slightly dimmer, older yellow dwarf. Around it, a single planet, rugged and scarred, with a thin, almost non-existent atmosphere. No signs of life, no orbiting structures, no active signals. It looked utterly desolate. "No immediate energy signatures detected, Commander," Aura reported. "Planet surface appears geologically stable, no significant tectonic activity. Atmosphere is 98% carbon dioxide, trace methane, unsuitable for organic life without full environmental suit." Elara scanned the desolate planet, her eyes searching for the veil. The Weaver's map had shown a node here, faint but present. Where was it? Then her cosmic lyre, now integrated into the ship's main console, chimed softly. Its display flickered, showing the veil's unique harmonic frequency. It was here, but not in space. "Aura, begin orbital scan for subterranean anomalies," Elara commanded. "Focus on deep energy signatures, particularly those matching the veil's harmonic frequency." The ship's sensors hummed to life, sweeping the planet's surface and delving beneath it. Minutes stretched into an hour. The planet remained silent, a tomb of rock and dust. Elara's hope began to wane. Had she misread the map? Was this veil truly dormant, beyond activation? Then, a faint blip appeared on the lyre's display, deep beneath the planet's barren surface. "Commander," Aura announced, her voice sharper, detecting a significant energy signature approximately 20 kilometers below the surface, directly beneath the planetary equator. Signature matches veil harmonic frequency, high density, structural integrity unknown. 20 kilometers deep. Buried. Why? Was it deliberately hidden? Or was it a relic of a cataclysm that had buried it beneath the planet's crust? Elara leaned forward, her gaze fixed on the coordinates. This wasn't just another veil. This was a mystery within a mystery. She had journeyed across the galaxy, following a cosmic lullaby, only to find its next note buried beneath a dead world. What awaited her down there? A message? A warning? Or something far more profound than she could imagine? The adventure, she knew, was only getting deeper. And Ilara, armed with her Stardust, her grandmother's melody, and an unshakable resolve, was ready to descend. Ilara engaged the Starlight Wispen's atmospheric thrusters, a familiar hum vibrating through the deck plates. The ship, usually a vibrant tapestry of light and life, seemed to hold its breath as it plunged towards Solar 7. From orbit, the dead world was a bruised, purple-grey marble, its surface a testament to ancient cataclysms. Vast, dust-choked plains scarred by impact craters, mountains shattered into jagged teeth, and canyons that looked like cosmic wounds. As she descended, the details sharpened, and Ilara realized she wasn't just falling towards a dead rock, she was falling towards a graveyard, a silent monument to a history untold. The atmosphere, thin and cold, shimmered with a reddish tint from millennia of suspended dust. Her internal senses flickered, picking up trace elements, argon, nitrogen, and something else, an isotopic signature she couldn't quite place, but which felt ancient, almost sorrowful. The coordinates, a precise string of numbers, guided her into a rift, a canyon so deep its floor was lost in perpetual shadow. The eye-wispen slid between sheer, jagged walls that rose like petrified giants, carved by forces beyond human comprehension. The silence pressed in, a heavy blanket that muffled even the ship's gentle thrum. Interference, natural or artificial, caused her comms to crackle, her long-range scanners to struggle. The only steady signal was the cosmic lullaby, a faint echo in her mind, now growing stronger, resonating with something below. She guided the whisper with practiced ease, her hands light on the controls, her gaze fixed on the dwindling distance. The canyon floor finally resolved itself, a vast, uneven expanse of crags and boulders, blanketed in fine grey dust. The coordinates pointed to a specific alcove, half obscured by a recent rockslide, deep within the canyon's lowest reaches. With a soft hiss and a gentle shudder, the Yi Whisper settled onto a relatively flat, dusty platform. The engines powered down, and the profound silence of Xylos 7 swallowed even the ship's residual hum. Ilara's own breathing, magnified by her helmet, was suddenly the loudest sound in the universe. Donning her explorer's suit, reinforced, insulated, and equipped with a full suite of environmental sensors, Ilara ran through her pre-egress checks. The suit felt like a second skin, a comforting shell against the unknown. Her grandmother's melody, a soft, insistent pulse behind her sternum, reassured her. She checked her Stardust dispenser, a wrist-mounted device that could release a swarm of self-assembling nanites. They were more than just glitter. They were microscopic tools, capable of scanning, shielding, illuminating, and even acting as a communication relay. This was a world that demanded caution, and Ilara was nothing if not prepared. With a final deep breath, she cycled the airlock and stepped out. The ground crunched softly under her reinforced boots, a sound that seemed to echo in the vast emptiness. The air, thin and bitterly cold, carried the faint, metallic scent of ancient dust, and a hint of something else, something mineral and utterly alien. It's Arthur, what a... Her suit's HUD overlaid the canyon walls with thermal scans and atmospheric data, unbreathable, corrosive in the long term. She deployed her Stardust. A shimmering cloud of microscopic particles swirled around her, then expanded, spreading across the immediate area. They were not just scanning the surface, they were probing beneath it, searching for anomalies, cutting through the interference that had plagued her descent. Almost immediately, the Stardust found something. Beneath the recent rockslide, deep within the canyon's shadowed alcove, it detected an energy signature. Faint, rhythmic, almost imperceptible, yet it resonated with a clarity that made the lullaby in Ilara's mind thrum with renewed vigor. It wasn't natural. It was too precise, too uniform. Ilara activated her suit's gravlift attachment, a focused beam of anti-graviton energy that could manipulate heavy objects. With careful precision, she began to move the fallen boulders, one by one. Dust billowed around her, briefly obscuring her view. but the Stardust nanites, acting as a personal light source, cut through the haze. As the last boulder shifted, revealing a dark, cavernous space beneath, Elara gasped, her breath catching in her throat. There, half buried in the ancient dust, stood a monolith. It was immense, far larger than her ship, crafted from a material that seemed to absorb all light, appearing as an obsidian black void against the muted backdrop of the canyon. It wasn't smooth, however. Its surface was etched with intricate, alien patterns that seemed to shift and writhe in the low light, like a living tapestry of symbols. It was clearly ancient, impossibly so, yet it radiated an aura of dormant power, a silent sentinel waiting for an awakening. The monolith hummed, a low vibration that Elara felt more in her bones than heard with her ears. The cosmic lullaby, which had been a gentle whisper, now swelled into a powerful resonant chord within her mind, almost a physical pressure behind her eyes. It was pulling her, drawing her closer. She reached out, her gloved hand hovering inches above the monolith's cold alien surface. The Stardust nanites, sensing her intent, swirled around her hand, then gently settled onto the monolith's etched patterns, acting as a bridge, a conduit. As her hand, mediated by the nanites, made contact, the etched patterns on the monolith's surface began to glow. A soft internal luminescence pulsed through the dark material, first a deep, ethereal blue, then a vibrant violet, shifting through a kaleidoscope of colors that painted the dusty canyon walls in ephemeral hues. The monolith was not merely a stone, it was a vast, ancient display, a data repository, a projector, perhaps even a living archive. The glowing patterns resolved themselves, no longer abstract symbols but coherent images, projected into the air around Elara. It was a narrative, a story unfolding before her eyes, not in a language she could understand, but in a universal visual lexicon of light and form. It began with Ixylos 7 itself, not a dead world, but a vibrant, teeming planet, awash in azure oceans and emerald continents. Strange, bioluminescent flora pulsed with life, and soaring architectural wonders reached for a sky that was once a brilliant, swirling tapestry of gas giants and nebulae. Then came its inhabitants. They were beings of pure energy, ethereal forms that shimmered and danced, communicating through intricate patterns of light and sound. Their civilization was incredibly advanced, their technology seamlessly integrated with their environment. They floated through their cities, their forms shifting like living nebulae, engaged in acts of creation, exploration, and profound contemplation. They built structures that defied gravity, harnessed stellar energy, and their understanding of the cosmos was depicted as vast and profound. Elara watched, mesmerized, as their history unfolded, their art, their philosophy, their gentle stewardship of their world. A wave of awe washed over Elara, followed by a profound sense of sorrow. The images shifted, growing darker, more ominous. A distant, cataclysmic event, not a natural disaster, but something far more destructive, began to approach Ixylos 7. It was an alien force, a cosmic wave of annihilation, perhaps a rogue stellar phenomenon, or the aftermath of some unimaginable conflict. The energy beings, despite their advanced technology, were powerless. They tried to escape, to shield their world, but the wave swept over Ixylos 7, tearing it apart, extinguishing its vibrant life in a flash of blinding light. The beautiful world shattered, its inhabitants dispersed into the cosmic winds, their cities reduced to dust and shadow. Elara felt tears prick at her eyes, a deep empathy for these long-lost beings. To witness such beauty, such life, erased in an instant, it was heartbreaking. The silence of the canyon now felt not merely empty, but laden with the echoes of a profound tragedy. But the monolith wasn't finished. The images shifted again, moving past the destruction, past the sorrow. It showed glimpses of the energy beings in their final moments, not in despair, but in an act of profound hope. They had been listeners, just like Elara. They had heard the cosmic lullaby, understood its significance, and had been on their own quest to trace its origin. In their final moments, they had poured their collective knowledge, their understanding of the lullaby's true source, into this monolith. A final message in a bottle cast into the cosmic ocean. The monolith projected a star chart, rendered in breathtaking detail. It showed a path, not through familiar constellations, but through a swirling, iridescent nebula, pointing towards a specific cluster of stars, deep within a previously uncharted sector of the galaxy. This wasn't just a record of their demise. It was a legacy, a baton passed on, a final act of continuity from a civilization that refused to let its knowledge die with it. The projection faded, the vibrant colors receding back into the obsidian surface of the monolith, leaving Elara standing in the vast, silent canyon. The star chart, however, burned brightly in her mind, etched there with impossible clarity. The lullaby, now a strong, insistent call, pulsed through her, confirming the path, urging her forward. Selos 7 was not the destination, but a waypoint, a library of a civilization that had once held the same cosmic quest, that had listened to the same melody across unimaginable gulfs of time and space. She felt a profound connection to them, a shared sense of wonder and purpose that transcended their different forms and their tragic end. The silence of the canyon no longer felt empty, but filled with the echoes of their hope, their final, magnificent gift. Elara had new coordinates, a new direction, and an even deeper understanding of the cosmic lullaby's significance. The adventure, she knew, was far from over. It was just beginning to reveal its true, wondrous depth. Elara recalibrated the Stardust's navigation systems, inputting the new coordinates revealed by the Xylan's final gift. The console pulsed with a soft cerulean glow, mirroring the faint, ethereal hum that now resonated through the ship's very structure. It wasn't just a series of numbers and vectors. It was a continuation of the cosmic lullaby, a complex melody woven with the Xylan's ancient wisdom, guiding her not just to a place, but through a tapestry of space and time. The journey from Silos was different. Before, the lullaby had been a whisper, a gentle hand guiding her through the known and unknown. Now, it was a chorus, full of depth and meaning, revealing layers of the universe she hadn't even perceived. As the Stardust slipped out of Xylos orbit, the planet's unique resonance faded, but Xylan's contribution to the lullaby remained, a vibrant thread in the grand cosmic tapestry. She traversed nebulae that pulsed with colors unseen, their gaseous tendrils vibrating with harmonic frequencies that spoke of stellar births and death. Asteroid fields, once treacherous mazes, now revealed themselves as intricate ballets of celestial bodies, each rock a silent percussion instrument in the cosmic orchestra. Elara learned to listen not just with her ears, but with her very being, her starchild essence resonating with the universe's pulse. Sometimes she would pause, drifting silently through the void, and let the lullaby wash over her. It showed her faint, shimmering pathways, echoes, she realized, of Xylan star trails, ancient routes they had once traveled, encoded into the fabric of space itself. She saw glimpses of their ships, not as physical entities, but as luminous, ephemeral trails of light, like ghost notes in a cosmic score. One such path led her through a region of space, where stars seemed to shimmer with an unusual, almost crystalline light. Here, the lullaby intensified, revealing faint geometric patterns, etched into the nebula dust. Patterns that seemed to shift and reform, like living fractals. As she followed them, the stardust began to hum with a new, deeper resonance. Suddenly, a massive, translucent structure materialized before her. It wasn't a planet or a star, but an immense crystalline lattice, stretching across light years. It pulsed with a gentle inner light, its facets reflecting the distant stars in a million fractured images. This was no natural formation. It was a construct, impossibly vast, impossibly ancient. A Xylan way station. Elara whispered, awestruck. Her voice sounded small in the immense silence of space. As she approached, the lullaby swelled, revealing the structure's true nature. It wasn't just a way station, it was a resonance amplifier, a colossal instrument built by the Xylans to project and amplify the grand harmony across vast distances. Each crystal facet was a perfectly tuned resonator, designed to catch and rebroadcast the cosmic frequencies. Elara guided the Stardust cautiously into one of the open hexagonal chambers that dotted its surface. The interior was a cathedral of light and sound. Pillars of pure vibrating energy rose from the floor, meeting in an arching ceiling of interwoven light. There were no controls, no interfaces in the traditional sense. The entire structure was operated by pure resonance. As Elara stepped out of her ship, the air shimmered around her. The lullaby here was not just external, it was internal, vibrating through her bones, her very cells. She saw faint, ghostly images flicker in the light, not silence, but their holographic imprints, their energetic echoes, dancing, working, singing within the amplifier. They were maintaining it, even after their physical forms were gone, their consciousnesses intertwined with the grand harmony. One particularly bright cluster of light coalesced before her, forming a vaguely humanoid shape, shimmering and translucent. It wasn't a living Elan, but a concentrated echo, a residual intelligence. "Welcome, Star Child," a voice echoed in her mind, not spoken aloud, but resonating directly into her thoughts, a symphony of gentle tones. "You have found a path long prepared." Elara felt a rush of emotion, wonder, curiosity, a profound sense of belonging. You are the aliens?" she asked, her voice a reverent whisper. "There are. What remains?" the echo replied. "All physical forms perished, yes. But our essence, our consciousness, we wove it into the grand harmony. We became part of the music, part of the cosmic lullaby. This amplifier is our instrument, our final gift to the universe, ensuring the harmony continues." "But why?" Elara asked, 1,000 questions bubbling to the surface. "Why guide me? Why this path?" "The grand harmony is delicate, Starchild. It is the fundamental resonance of all existence, the song that binds stars and souls. When our world was consumed, a dissonance was created, a momentary tear in the cosmic fabric. We dedicated our transformation to repairing it, to ensuring the lullaby never truly fell silent." The echo projected images into Elara's mind, vast, intricate diagrams of cosmic forces, gravitational waves, quantum entanglements, all represented as musical notes and harmonies. She saw the Exilans, not as beings of a single planet, but as cosmic conductors, maintaining balance, guiding the flow of universal energy through song. Their tragic end was not an end at all, but a deliberate, conscious transformation into pure energy and information, woven into the very fabric of the universe they loved. "We perceived a potential, a unique frequency within you, Elara. A star child, born to listen, to learn, to sing the lullaby. You are a new note, a vital chord in the continuing symphony. We planted seeds, left breadcrumbs of our knowledge, hoping one would find them, and continue the weaving. The new coordinates," Elara realized. "They lead to the source, don't they? The heart of the grand harmony." "Indeed, the Gaethel core," the echo confirmed. "It is not a place, Elara, but a state of being. The nexus where all cosmic frequencies converge, where the grand harmony is born and sustained. It is where you will understand your true purpose, and where you will contribute your unique melody." Elara felt a thrill of anticipation mingled with a touch of trepidation. "What must I do there?" "Listen, Elara. Truly listen. And then, sing. Sing your own unique song into the chorus. Weave your essence into the tapestry. You are the bridge between the physical and the resonant, the human and the cosmic. You are the inheritor of our legacy. Not to replace, but to enrich. With that, the Exilon echo began to fade, its light dimming, its final words a gentle instruction. "Follow the deepest hum, Elara. The Athel core awaits." Elara returned to the Stardust, her mind buzzing with revelation. The resonance amplifier pulsed with a final magnificent chord, then seemed to recede, becoming a faint, starlit memory as she left its chamber. The lullaby now resonated with an even greater urgency, a clear, unmistakable pull. The journey to the Athel core was unlike any before. The Stardustan seemed to dissolve into pure light, traversing distances that defied conventional physics. The stars outside were no longer distinct points, but swirling rivers of energy, their light bending and flowing like liquid music. Time itself seemed to warp, stretching and compressing, becoming another rhythm in the cosmic song. Eventually, the Stardust emerged into a region of space where no stars shone, yet it was not dark. Instead, it glowed with an internal luminescence, a soft, warm light that seemed to emanate from the very fabric of existence. Before her, a breathtaking spectacle unfolded. It was a vast, shimmering nebula, not of gas and dust, but of pure, concentrated light and energy, constantly shifting and reforming. At its very center pulsed a singularity, not a destructive black hole, but a radiant core of pure white light, the galaxies core. It was the cosmic tuning fork, the heart of the grand harmony, where all universal vibrations converged and resonated. The lullaby here was not just a sound, it was a physical sensation, a gentle vibration that cradled the Stardust. Elara felt as if she had come home, to the deepest core of reality. She disembarked, feeling no need for a spacesuit. The atmosphere, if one could call it that, was pure energy, breathable and invigorating. The ground beneath her feet was not solid rock, but a shimmering, crystalline surface that pulsed with soft light, like a vast, living musical instrument. As she walked towards the Ethel core, she noticed faint, ethereal pathways woven into the crystalline ground. They glowed with various colors, each representing a different frequency, a different melody. These were the paths of the grand harmony, the interwoven threads of existence. And within them she saw faint luminous traces of the Xylons, their consciousnesses having merged entirely with this ultimate source. The Ethel core pulsed gently, like a colossal, cosmic heart. It wasn't a solid object, but a nexus of pure concentrated resonance, radiating the very essence of the cosmic lullaby. Elara felt drawn to it, an irresistible pull. As she approached, the lullaby swelled to an overwhelming crescendo, not loud, but infinitely deep and rich. It spoke of galaxies being born, of planets forming, of life emerging, of love, of sorrow, of hope. It was the collective consciousness of the universe, distilled into pure sound. Elara closed her eyes, letting the vibrations wash over her. She felt herself dissolving not physically, but in essence, her star-child spirit opening completely. She understood now. The cosmic lullaby wasn't just a guide, it was her. It was everything. With a deep breath, she began to sing. Her voice, usually a gentle hum, now resonated with a power she had never known. It was her unique frequency, honed by years of listening, shaped by her experiences on Xylos and her journey through the Xylon pathways. She sang of the wonder she had witnessed, the connection she had felt, the profound beauty of the universe. She sang of her own hopes and dreams, of humanity's yearning for understanding, for peace, for connection. As she sang, her body began to glow, not with an artificial light, but with an inner radiance, her star-child essence merging with the Ethel core's energy. The crystalline ground around her shimmered in response, amplifying her voice, weaving it into the grand harmony. The faint island traces around her seemed to brighten, their ancient song intertwining with hers, a beautiful duet across eons. She wasn't just singing a the lullaby, she was singing with it. She felt the threads of the universe connecting through her, the past, the present, and the future all resonating in a single magnificent chord. She was a bridge, a weaver, a new voice in the ancient song. The moment stretched into eternity, filled with pure, unadulterated wonder. Then, slowly, gently, her song softened. The glow around her faded, and she felt herself coalesce once more, standing on the shimmering crystalline ground. But she was changed. Not physically, but deeply, fundamentally. She no longer just heard the cosmic lullaby, she felt it as an intrinsic part of her being. She understood its nuances, its infinite complexity, its unending promise. She was no longer merely a listener, she was a participant, a guardian, a co-creator. The Ethel core pulsed with a gentle, contented rhythm, its light softer, yet somehow more profound. It had accepted her song, integrated her unique frequency into its eternal chorus. Elara knew her journey was far from over. The universe was still vast, still full of untold wonders and unspoken melodies. But now, she carried the grand harmony within her, a guiding light, a comforting presence. She understood that the greatest adventure wasn't just about discovering new worlds, but about discovering the connections that bind all existence, the shared song that echoes through every star, every atom, every heart. As she turned back towards the Stardust, the crystalline ground humming beneath her feet, she looked up at the soft internal glow of the Ethel core. It was a place of profound peace, of infinite knowledge, and of unending hope. She would carry its song, its legacy, and her own unique melody, back out into the cosmos. And as the Stardust gently lifted off, leaving the Ethel core behind, Alara smiled. The cosmic lullaby wasn't just a dream to chase, it was the reality she lived, a gentle hum always present, always guiding, whispering of wonder, of connection, and of the beautiful, endless journey that was life itself. She was a star child, forever dancing to the universe's most beautiful song, ready for whatever harmonies the cosmos would reveal next, her heart full, her purpose clear, and her spirit forever intertwined with the grand harmony. And as you drift off to sleep, little one, remember that same lullaby hums for you too, connecting you to every star and every dream in the vast, wondrous universe. Good night.